This is a CRT, obviously. And the question that everyone asks themselves in the big 2025 is that, are CRTs still useful? Well, the short answer is kinda. It all really depends on like what you're actually using the TV for, but the most obvious one which is obviously this. In the early 2000s and the early 90s, box TVs, or obviously commonly referred as CRT TVs, were mainly used in households, mainly to watch TV with an analog system. Unfortunately, now that all analog signals are gone and are just completely obsolete in North America, and were actually assigned to be banned by Congress way back in 2005, but then was banned in 2009 when all the analog signals shut down. It is now completely obsolete, and the viewing aspect of actually using analog TVs to watch television is now completely gone since all the channels are completely shut off. But what are analog TVs exactly used for in 2025, and why are they so somewhat popular? Oh yeah, who could have guessed it? Gamers use these bad boys mainly because of, well, just better signals. Now, there is a better way to actually describe it, but that is a whole separate can of worms. But basically, analog TVs have a certain efficiency to where they actually like shoot a ray to generate as like images as fast as possible. I believe the efficiency is like what, 392,000 frames a second or something like that to process each frame one by frame. And obviously with analog signal and with RCA cables, it is a lot more easier to do that. The best way to put it is that if you have RCA cables, or basically like an analog signal, which is basically used for analog signals and shit, as everyone knows that, right? But when you use an analog a thing that's supposed to use analog signal compared to something else that's supposed to correct the analog signal, it is going to be a lot better compared to using a extension, such as like an AV to HDMI, because then the video looks like shit, and then it looks all chopped up, and then overall it just turns out like shit. But why do gamers such as myself use analog TVs when it comes to playing old retro console games? Well, it's actually, some of the reasons are actually pretty simple to understand. I'm gonna be completely honest, I did not know any of this because honestly, I actually just bought a CRT myself to play old retro games. So I didn't know much of this stuff either, but the stuff that I've been learning, I figured I would share with you guys and to show you the most interesting and common reasons on why it is behind that. First and foremost, to why so many people still have analog TVs and to what some people still actually keep them and use them for every now and then, is that mainly the sense of nostalgia when it comes to actually playing old console games. To complete the full like retro gaming setup and to complete the full quest of nostalgia, people always own these TVs mainly just to get the full sentiment and overall just to go back in time to what it was to play games when they were younger. And the main part of this nostalgia that some gamers have, it is mainly to escape the modern titles and overall just the modern gaming experience, because some people just don't like it at all. And it's mainly just because of all the titles such as Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, or literally just any game made by EA that most people just literally do not like at all for many reasons. And speaking of EA, one of the main reasons to why people want to escape the modern games, and some people who just don't play them at all, and people who just take the retro games and play them on analog TV just to get the full sentiment, is because of, you guessed it, greed. There's been a major controversy in the past few years within the gaming community, like with the rise of microtransactions and item shops in many video games, mainly battle royales, because of all the fucking slop that you're staring at your screen right now. With this, it has mainly more just become about money than it actually has making the games actually good, and it's releasing as much stupid shit as possible to the average consumer that they're going to want to buy. So like with all these gaming companies, they are literally just pushing out like the most random skins of your favorite celebrities, just so people can buy it, instead of actually worrying about making their games good and instead of listening to their communities about like what's wrong with the game itself. Because with most games nowadays, as everyone knows, but most video game companies are not worried about like the quality of their game, But it's mainly just about like how much money they're making instead of actually people actually just enjoying it. Because as long as the games are still making money, the video game companies sadly do not give a fuck about you or anything else. Because it is a lot better to play on one of these older TVs compared to playing older games on a modern TV, which doesn't really make any sense. So in order to actually like fully escape the modern realm of video games, if you want to play like older video games, it is better to just get one of these in order to get the full experience of it. Reason number 2. Performance. At the beginning of the video, I said one of the main reasons why gamers use analog TVs was for mainly better signals. But what do I exactly mean by that, and what does that overall just mean in general? It is primarily used for competitive gaming parts such as speedrunning, which is what you're looking at your screen right now. And this links back to what I said at the beginning of the video, which is why what I said about when gamers use this because of quote-unquote better signals. Now, what I meant by that is, well, mainly because of input delay. Since playing retro games is more in the competitive setting of speedrunning, runners use analog TVs to precisely help them when it comes to certain inputs being implemented during a run, because of how precise some of the tricks during the speedrun actually are within itself. Because using an analog TV compared to using a modern TV to play old retro console games, using a regular adapter like you guys see here, it actually uses up to 100 milliseconds when using inputs on an analog TV is only 8 milliseconds. But why? At the beginning of the video, I said the reason why gamers use analog TVs, well, mainly gamers, is that because of better signals. Having a modern TV like I have behind me, such as the average Roku TV like you would see in your house. So with a TV like this, but compared to modern TVs and analog TVs, there is a thing called digital upscaling. Because when playing like older games on like a digital TV, there is a major downside, and one of that is like I just said, processing. And with those indicators, there has to be upscaling, transmitting audios, and like a bunch of other stuff that I'm gonna put on screen for you guys to read, and all of that has to be generated in a certain amount of time. And one of the major issues that comes into play is audio. Because like I also said at the beginning of the video, like processing audio and connecting something with an analog signal compared to something else that's supposed to process an analog signal. So for an example, like an NES to a TV, it is going to be a lot more functional. Frequency between the two is amazingly different. Such as an example right here, I'm going to put on your screen. As you can tell, the frequency between audio is really, really different. And having to process that on a digital TV is going to be significantly different. And that is mainly what causes the downside between processing things. So that's why for a digital TV, when it comes to playing like old games on them, that's why it takes 100 milliseconds because it has to transmit the audio, first, which is one of the main aspects of it to why it just fucks over your entire experience, especially when you're playing games competitively, like most gamers do with analog TVs. And using fuck-ass extensions like this, obviously does not make it any better, because as anyone knows, using extensions for anything, any piece of technology, is going to be shitty. So what is my main conclusion and answer to this whole rhetoric exactly? Like I said at the beginning of the video, kinda. Whether you're a person just looking for nostalgia, or you're a person who just plays video games competitively, depending on which side, which is either of those sides in my personal opinion, which both of them I'm on, then yes, I would say 100%. But if you're gonna buy it for the viewing aspect, obviously absolutely fucking not, because it is completely goddamn useless. But I lean on both sides, and like I already explained in this video. And both reasons why I have an analog TV, because I mainly just don't like that many modern games because of the reasons I explained, and both competitive gaming reasons, like I explained, because of the delay, etc., etc. In my personal opinion, though, 110% get an analog TV. It has honestly helped me like have a proper setup, and I think, and honestly, it just like gives the feel for me personally. And it basically just all the shit I described in this video is why I have one. Anyways, if you guys like this video, Just follow everything below in the description. I greatly appreciate it. I'm out. Please get yourself an analog. It's pretty fucking